Prynawn da, chroeso. I'm Claire Morgan, Strategic Director at Estyn, and I'd like to give you a warm welcome to our Estyn Live session this afternoon, focusing on mathematics. I'm pleased to be joined by two of our HMI who are leading on the work to support improvement in mathematics. Welcome to Nicola Thomas, HMI, who is author of our recent thematic report on insights into improving teaching and leadership in mathematics education. And also Gary Jones, HMI, who alongside Nicola leads Estyn's work on data and mathematics. During this Estyn Live session this afternoon, Nicola and Gary will give us a brief overview of the findings of the thematic report. And in the Q&A box, you'll find the link to the full report if you'd like to look back at it in detail. I'm also delighted to welcome Bet Lloyd, Head Teacher at Ysgol Cwm Banwy in Powys, and Nathaniel Fox, Head of Mathematics at Bishop of Llandaff High School in Cardiff. Thank you both for joining us, and we're really looking forward to hearing about the work you're doing on leading improvements in mathematics. If you have any questions today, please feel free to submit them in the Q&A box, and we'll do our best to get through as many as possible. Just before I hand over to Nicola and Gary, please can I remind you that part of this webinar will be in Welsh, but we have English translation. To enable this, you'll need to click on those three small dots at the top of your screen. Click on Language and Speech, choose Language, Interpretation, and then choose to listen in English. And once you've made this selection, then it'll automatically pick up the translation throughout this session. So I'll now hand over to Nicola and Gary, who will share a summary of the main messages of the report. Diolch.
Diolch, Claire. Prynhawn da bawb. As you know, we've recently published a thematic report on mathematics that focuses on the quality of teaching, curriculum and leadership in mathematics. We didn't focus specifically on numeracy, although many of the findings in the report are also relevant for numeracy. But to improve pupil standards in numeracy, schools need to get the provision for mathematics right first, as then pupils will have that deep understanding that's needed for them to be able to apply their skills in different contexts, both within maths and across the curriculum. The report examines teaching, learning and leadership in maths across primary, secondary and all age schools. It identifies strengths and areas for improvement in teaching, curriculum, assessment and leadership. And we designed the report to be a practical resource. So in each of the three main chapters, it begins with tiles that show a snapshot of what effective practice looks like. And each chapter ends with questions for schools to use to support them in their self-evaluation and improvement planning. And there's also an extensive glossary at the end of the report. Whilst we observed some examples of effective teaching of mathematics, generally there was insufficient responsive teaching within maths classrooms, and overall pupil standards in maths were too low. Where teaching was effective, and of course, as we know, we judge that on the progress that pupils make, teachers had high expectations of what pupils could achieve, and they used a range of effective teaching methods that challenged all pupils well. And we all know there's a misconception that high expectation and high challenge is about providing work that is harder or faster, and that's not the case. It's about challenging all pupils at a level which is just right, probably just above where they're currently working. But to do that, teachers need to know their pupils and the subject of mathematics well. However, something that appears repeatedly through the report is that too often teachers have a limited understanding of the best ways to support pupils' learning, either because their subject knowledge isn't strong enough, or they hadn't developed their subject pedagogy well enough. Gary.
Lle gwnaethon ni weld addysgu effeithiol ac felly disgyblion yn gwneud cynnydd cryf, lle gan athrawon fel oedd Nick yn dweud ddisgwyliadau uchel ac yn herio disgyblion i feddwl yn ddwfn. A mae hyn yn golygu bod nhw'n herio disgyblion just uwch ben lle roedd nhw eisoes yn gweithio. Dim risel bod y disgyblion yn colli diddordeb, ond hefyd ddim yn rhy uchel fel bod disgyblion methu ymdopi. Mae'r athrawon yma yn hyderus yn ei gwybodaeth bwnc ac yn gwneud defnydd effeithiol o ystod eang o dechnegau y ddysgu ac asesu. Maent yn deall sut mae disgyblion yn dysgu mathemateg, ac maen nhw'n meddwl yn ofalus am beth yn union maen nhw'n moyn i'r disgyblion i ddysgu. Ar sail hyn, maen nhw'n cynllunio cyfres o weithgareddau sy'n adeiladu ar ei gilydd, yn hytrach na cynllunio beth bydd disgyblion yn ei wneud. So dyn nhw ddim yn meddwl am beth mae disgyblion yn mynd i wneud, maen nhw'n meddwl am beth mae disgyblion yn mynd i ddysgu, a beth yw'r gweithgareddau gorau mwyn galluogi hynny. Lle maent yn defnyddio dysgu uniongyrchol, maent yn dewis enghreifftiau yn ofalus mwyn modelu eu disgwyliadau a dangos sut mae'r cysyniad newydd yn cysylltu gyda beth mae disgyblion eisoes yn gwybod. Mae athrawon hyn yn sicrhau bod disgyblion yn deall beth maen nhw'n dysgu a gweld sut mae hwn yn cysylltu gyda ardaloedd eraill o mathemateg neu bywyd bob dydd, yn hytrach na just dilyn set o gyfarwyddiadau mwyn cael yr ateb cywir. Athrawon hyn yn cwestiynu disgyblion yn effeithiol i ddyfnhau eu dealltwriaeth o gysyniadau, a sicrhau bod y disgyblion yn deall pam mae pethau'n digwydd a sut. Maent yn defnyddio technegau effeithiol asesu ar y pryd, fel defnyddio byrddau bach gwyn neu cwestiynau diagnostig, neu unrhyw ddull arall rili o fesur dealltwriaeth yr holl disgyblion. A wedyn maen nhw'n defnyddio'r wybodaeth yma yn fedrus i liwio'r addysgu, gan addasu lefel yr her neu gyflymder yr addysgu nôl yr angen. Maent yn aml yn gallu rhagweld camsyniadau cyffredin y bydd disgyblion i'w wneud ac yn defnyddio'r dulliau asesu, ond dwi'n newydd sôn amdanyn nhw, i fynd i'r afel ar camsyniadau disgyblion yn amserol. Maen nhw'n trin camsyniadau fel cyfleoedd i ddysgu yn hytrach na'i trin fel atebion anghywir. Mae'r athrawon hyn yn cynnig cyfleoedd gwerthfawr i ddisgyblion gymhwyso eu gwybodaeth neu ddatrys problemau annibynnol pan fyddant yn barod i ymdopi gyda hyn. Un peth welson ni hefyd yn yr arferion gorau oedd bod yr ysgolion hefyd yn pwysleisio pwysigrwydd bod cymuned gyfan yr ysgol yn dangos agweddau positif at ddysgu mathemateg ar rhifedd, a phwysigrwydd dysgu'r ddau y pynciau yma fel bod disgyblion yn barod ar gyfer bywyd tu allan i'r ysgol. Diolch. Yn credu bod Betsan yn mynd i gyflwyno nawr y rhai o'r arferion welson ni yn Ysgol Cwm Banwy ar ein ymweliadau ni yn ystod casglu gwybodaeth ynglyn â'r adroddiad thematig.
Diolch yn fawr am y croeso. Mae'n braf gallu rhannu taith Ysgol Cwm Banwy wrth roi ffocws ar ddatblygiad mathemateg ar rhifedd gyda chi heddiw. Felly, i ddechrau dyma chydig bach o gyd-destun yr ysgol. Ysgol fechan wledig ydy Ysgol Cwm Banwy sydd wedi ei lleoli yma yng nghanolbarth Cymru ac mae 47 o ddisgyblion ar y gofrestr. Ar hyn o bryd mae disgyblion blwyddyn derbyn hyd at blwyddyn 2 mewn un dosbarth dysgu sylfaen ac yna disgyblion blwyddyn 3 i 6 mewn un dosbarth cynradd, felly ystod eang o ran oedrannau ac o ran galluoedd mewn dosbarthiadau. Ein gweledigaeth ni fel ysgol yw gyda'n gilydd yn lliwio'r byd, gyda gweledigaeth ein cwricwlwm yn sicrhau bod yr holl ddisgyblion yn troedio antur ar y llwybr lliw. Mae'r ddarpariaeth yn gyfoethog, yn bwrpasol ac yn bersonol i'r disgyblion a'r gymuned. Felly mae'r symboliad tu ôl ein logo ni a gweledigaeth y cwricwlwm yn cyfleu hyn hefyd. Sleid nesaf, os gwelwch yn dda. Fe ddechreuodd y cyfan gyda'r elfen o onestrwydd. Roedd arbenigeddau'r staff yma yn Ysgol Cwm Banwy yn gwiro tuag at ddatblygu medre llythrennedd ein disgyblion, gyda'r elfen o fathemateg ar rhifedd yn cael ei gysgodi i raddau. Roedd yr angen yma i gryfhau medrau'r rhyfedd y disgyblion ar draws yr ysgol, hyn law yn llaw a chynllunio a darparu cwricwlwm cyffrous, ysgogol a phwrpasol. Felly, ystyriom pa ffordd mae disgyblion yn dysgu orau. A'r ateb oedd, wrth gwrs, dysgu trwy brofiad oedd a phwrpas iddo. Dyma mae'r disgyblion yn mynd i'w gofio ar ddiwedd y dydd. Felly, dyma ddechrau cyd-gynllunio ar lefel ysgol gyfain ein matiau rhyfedd. Daeth yn amlwg mewn byr amser bod y matiau hyn yn sicrhau darpariaeth gyfoethog o brofiadau trawsgwricwlaidd gyda phwysoliad penodol ar rhyfedd, oedd yn sicrhau bod y disgyblion yn elwa o fodel dilyniant o ran profiadau, medrau a gwybodaeth wrth iddynt symud ymlaen ar hyd y continuum dysgu. Roedd y profiadau yn plethu yn naturiol i ofynion y 4 diben, y 6 maes dysgu a phrofiad, ac roedd yma ymgysylltiad clir i'r o'r datganiadau o'r hyn sy'n bwysig. Felly, dewch i ni gael gweld matiau rhyfedd. Sleid nesaf, os gwelwch y dda. Yn dilyn arolwg Estyn yn mis Mai 2024, amlygwyd roedd rhyfedd ar draws y cwricwlwm yn gryfder. Rhannwyd bod trefniadau'r ysgol ar gyfer datblygu medrau'r rhyfedd disgyblion yn gryfder amlwg. Mae'r holl athrawon yn angerddol dros gynnig profiadau dysgu newydd sy'n codi ymwybyddiaeth trwy gaffael medrau'r rhyfedd sydd â phwrpas iddynt. Rydym yn cynllunio cyd-destynau bywyd go iawn, trwy hyrwyddo'r elfen o rhyfedd, trwy sicrhau profiadau hwyliog ac ymarferol ym mhob achos posibl. Law yn llaw o hyn, rydym yn cynnig profiadau cyfoethog i'r disgyblion i ymholi trwy ddatblygu dulliau rhesymu rhyfeddol sy'n annog y disgyblion i wneud penderfyniadau eu hunain trwy archwilio ac arbrofi cyn dod i gasgliadau. Mae'r profiadau hyn yn draws gwricwlaidd ac yn gyfoethog ac yn datblygu medrau ar draws yr ysgol. Mae'r athrawon yn credu bod annog cyfathrebu rhwng y disgyblion hefyd yn hanfodol i'r dysgu ac maent yn canolbwyntio ar ofyn cwestiynau sy'n annog y plant i wneud penderfyniadau pwrpasol ac amserol am eu canfyddiadau. Felly, dyma ddechrau ein taith. Datblygiad gardd goffa Mr Richard Tudor, cadeirydd yr ysgol yn ôl yn 2020. Yma gwelwch bod llais y disgyblion yn allweddol i liwio y gweithgareddau o fewn ein matiau'r rhyfedd. Felly, dyma enghraifft. Sleid nesaf, os gwelwch yn dda. Ar ochr dde y sleid, gwelwch enghraifft o 2 fat rhyfedd, a luniwyd yn dilyn gwrando ar lais y dysgwyr. 2020, llecyn o dir aflan oedd yma, roedd cynlluniau mawr o draws newid yr ardal ysgol goedwig i'r ysgol newydd, a dydw i ddim yn un i droi nôl ar fy ngeiriau. Dechreuodd y gwaith trwy lunio tasg gyfoethog yn hymor y Gwanwyn 2021. Yma heddiw mae safle gardd goffa gymunedol sydd wedi datblygu o gynlluniau syml ein plant. Mae disgyblion yn ymroi'n frwdfrydig i'r profiadau cydlynnus a dychmygus ag ant, ac maent yn gwneud cynnydd arbennig o gryf yn yr agwedd hon o'i haddysg ar draws yr ysgol. Felly mae'r staff yn cyd-gynllunio'r matiau ac yn ei gwahaniaethu gwrdd â gofynion y disgyblion. Mae'r staff yr ysgol yn rhannu disgwyliadau mwyn sicrhau darpariaeth o gyfleoedd diddorol a gwahanol wrth gymhwyso medrau trawsgwricwlaidd gan roi ffocws ar fedrau rhif. Mae'r athrawon yn hyrwyddo medrau datrys problemau rhyfeddol y disgyblion ar draws yr ysgol trwy archwilio ac arbrofi gwahanol gyd-destunau fel sbardun cychwynnol. Felly uchod gwelwch enghreifftiau ar sut mae'r disgyblion wedi datblygu eu medrau rhif wrth gynllunio ffurfiau llwybrau cymarsurol gyda ffocws ar fesur ac adlewyrchiadau, dysgu sut i gymysgu sment ar gyfer sicrhau sylfaeni cadarn i'r llwybrau, ffocws ar gymeredau, pwysau a chynhwysedd, ffurfio ardal wlyb oedd yn gofyn mawr i ddatrys problem o leinio'r pwll gyda gorchydd gwrthdŵr, gyda ffocws ar arwynebedd, radiws, diametr a chylchedd, cyn troi at greu gwlau codi ar gyfer tyfu llysiau ffrwythau oedd â ffocws ar ddysgu am onglau a siapiau. Fel y gwelwch, mae dysgu ymarferol pwrpasol yn agor drysau newydd mewn addysg. Sleid nesaf, gwelwch y dda. Mat arall sydd yma, ond y tro hwn gyda ffocws ar gynllunio a datrys problem ar ddrysfa. Eto un o syniadau'r disgyblion. Y tro hwn dyma'r disgyblion ar lefel ysgol gyfan yn cyplysu eu medrau rhifedd gyda elfen o ddylunio thechnoleg a'r diniaethau. Sbardinwyd y disgyblion yn dilyn cwestiynau megis pa siap fydd y ddrysfa, pam dewis y siap yma, pa fath o onglau sy'n rhan o'r ddrysfa, beth fydd maint i'ch drysfa go iawn, hyd, lled, centimetre, metre, arwynebedd y ddrysfa, perimedr, graddfa, beth am gostau creu y ddrysfa yn derfynol. Edrychwyd hefyd ar gyfurnodau grid yr ardal o dan sylw gan gynnwys cyfeiriad troadau i'r dde i'r chwith yn glocwedd neu yn wrthglocwedd. Sleid nesaf, gwelwch yn dda. Mae'r athrawon yn cynllunio ar lefel uchel yn dechrau o'r dosbarth derbyn hyd at ddiwedd y cyfnod cynradd. O ganlyniad gwelir dealltwriaeth a chynnydd wrth i'r disgyblion symud ymlaen trwy'r ysgol. Mae'r athrawon yn darparu amgylchedd dysgu cyfoethog trwy sicrhau bod y disgyblion yn cael digonedd o gyfleoedd i wneud penderfyniadau yn amserol, gofyn cwestiynau ac ymholi yn annibynnol. Caiff y disgyblion y cyfleoedd i addasu eu trywyddau dysgu yn ôl eu gofynion a'r cwestiynau sy'n cael eu codi. Felly mae yna bwrpas i'r dysgu sy'n hyrwyddo datblygu medrau annibynnol a datrys problem ein disgyblion ac edrychwch yn wir ar ffrwyth eu llafur. Sleid nesaf, gwelwch yn dda. Yn ola, dyma un enghraifft arall. Y tro hwn, eto ar lefel ysgol gyfan, dyma'r cyngor ysgol yn penderfynu cefnogi'r elusen Operation Christmas Child. Roedd 6 mat gwahaniaethol wedi eu cynllunio ac yma yn y lluniau gwelwch y cynnydd yn medrau'r disgyblion ar draws yr ysgol. Y tro hwn y ffocws oedd ar arian wrth iddynt gyfrifo costau llenwi bocs a'i anfon, llunio rhwydi a modelau siapiau 3D i gyfleu'r bocs esgidiau, ac yn olaf datrys problem arwynebedd trwy geisio lleihau gwastraff o ran lapio'r bocs mewn papur lapio. Felly, beth yw'r effaith mae'r gwaith hwn yn cael ar ddarpariaeth y safonau'r dysgwyr? Yn aml, mae natur gweithgareddau yn ailadrodd trwy gynnig heriau mewn cyd-destynau emrywiol, trwy arbrofi fel hyn a datblygu medrau rhyfedd. Mae'n rhoi sicrwydd i'r disgyblion wrth iddynt fagu hyder a dysgu dyfnach wrth drafod eu medrau ar draws y cwricwlwm. Mae parodrwydd y disgyblion ar draws yr ysgol yn derbyn cyfleoedd dysgu ysgogol ac arbrofol hefyd yn cynyddu wrth iddynt ymgysylltu a'i dysgu. Mae'r dulliau o ddysgu'n enyn brwdfrydedd y disgyblion ac yn ehangu eu gorwelion ac yn cyfrannu at datblygu eu chwilfrydedd y naturiol yma yn ysgol Cwm Banwy. Diolch yn fawr am wrando.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Betsan, am y cyflwyniad. A dwi'n siŵr bod yna sawl cwestiwn allan gen y gynulleidfa. So mae croeso chi roed unrhyw gwestiwn ydych chi eisiau gofyn yn yr adran Q&A sydd ar y top. Ond os gael ei ddechrau, cwestiwn sydd o'n i'n mynd i ofyn oedd, sut ydych chi'n sicrhau bod lefel y mathemateg mae'r disgyblion yn ei ddefnyddio yn addas i'r pwynt datblygu mathemategol mae disgyblion arno fe, fel bod y gweithgareddau'n herio pob disgwyl yn briodol.
Felly fel clwstwr, dyn ni wedi edrych yn benodol ar, dyn ni wedi mapio ar lefel uchel o ran deall y 5 hyfedredd, ac hefyd o fel ysgol, dyn ni wedi penderfynu edrych yn benodol ar ddatblygiad y fframwaith rhifedd, ac hefyd dyn ni'n cadw golwg ar camau cynnydd. Ond o ran ein matiau, fel dwi wedi dweud, maen nhw wedi cael eu gwahaniaethu ar draws yr ysgol o'r dosbarth derbyn hyd at flwyddyn 6 o tua 6 lefel. Ac yma dyn ni'n gweithio'n fwy na dim byd ar y stage not age. Felly mae unrhyw fath, beth bynnag yw gallu'r plentyn yn ateb ei gofynion nhw. Felly dwi'n gobeithio bod hynna wedi ateb eich cwestiwn chi.
Yeah. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Oes yna unrhyw gwestiynau arall yna cyn bod ni'n symud ymlaen? OK, diolch yn fawr. Back to you, Claire.
So thank you very much for the welcome. I'm the second speaker here today. My name's Nathaniel Fox. I'm a teacher of mathematics at the Bishop of Llandaff Church in Wales High School. I'm here to talk about a specific technique that I've been observed in for the thematic review, and it's a questioning technique, and it's a technique I know has a big impact on learners as we move forward. So a little bit of background. I hope as mathematics teachers we all understand the importance of questioning. It's one of the most valuable tools we have for formative assessment, but it really is the quality of that questioning that helps make the progress visible and has the greatest impact on our learners. And there's a variety of questioning techniques that we can use, but quality questioning helps scaffold the improvement that the students make, and it brings in higher order ideas as well, and it's used to strengthen and deepen their understanding. Now, the technique that I am sharing with you today, in and of itself, is quite a basic technique, but it opens the doors for so many fruitful discussions and making progress really visible both to you as a teacher and as a learner. So as an overview, the technique that I have been observed using is to use multiple choice diagnostic questions. These are answered with ABCD cards that are laid out in front of students, and they hold up the letter in response to the answer that they wish to give. Now, this is absolutely fantastic for having a really quick snapshot of a class's understanding. But it's the importance of this and the absolute relevance of this technique is not necessarily in that, it's how it's then used further on in the classroom. The cards themselves give you as a teacher a really, really good view of what students understand, and it allows those students to see as well what they do, but it's the misconceptions and the mistakes that you can then explore from this that really makes this a beneficial questioning technique. And this is where you can combine your higher order questioning as well. You can bring in your Bloom's taxonomy, because effective teachers can take this and pick up on what the class in front of them is demonstrating and use it to impact the class as a whole. Now, in order for this technique to be effective, the focus really isn't on the questions itself, but more on the planning that goes into it. So if we go on to the next slide, the questions themselves are generally quite short and skills-based, often up to 4 multiple choice responses. So in themselves, they're not particularly special. They give you a lot of information as a teacher, but it's those misconceptions and mistakes that are planned for in this activity that really make it beneficial. Using the questions at key points throughout a lesson can allow you to demonstrate progress against a key learning objective, for instance, and it can also really allow you to adapt your teaching to the learners you have in front. But the real key idea is that the questions and answers are designed carefully to highlight key misconceptions. And I'll show you some examples of those in a second. Now, these mistakes, they can come from your professional experience, having taught that class, but also collaboratively as a department, we can share information amongst you. Having taught previous classes before, we learn as effective teachers what misconceptions students have. And it's this part of the planning that makes this a really effective technique. And when we use that, it allows us to adapt our teaching both within the classroom, if a concept's not been well received, but also across the whole scheme of learning. Now, if I show you on the next slide a couple of examples of the questions I mean, I've got two here that I've used in a class fairly recently. In and of themselves, you can see the questions are quite short and sharp, finding the highest common factor. But it's the answers that have been deliberately chosen that opened up the discussions in the class. The one there in the top left, the answers have been chosen very specifically to hit on some key misconceptions. 48 answer B there being the lowest common multiple, and that's the most common response you get, or most common incorrect response I should say you get. But the other answers have been chosen carefully as well. One of them is simply not a factor, and that gives you information about whether they understand that concept, and the other is a factor, but it's not the highest. In order to have all those answers ready and primed to go, I've had to plan for the questions I'm going to ask as a follow-up as well. So when I write a question like this, I plan follow-up questions for both correct and incorrect answers so that you can adapt as a teacher to the class you have in front of you. Additionally, it's really important to ensure students have time to give their responses to this so that they can develop their subject-specific vocabulary, for instance, and also develop their communication skills by building and challenging other students in their responses. And it can lead to really fruitful discussions about those misconceptions and mistakes. On the next slide, I've got two further examples that aren't so much short, sharp questions, but serve a slightly different purpose. Here you can see the answers have been constructed so that there is some overlap between them. And this can give you lots of information, particularly from the wrong answers. If you look at the one in the bottom right there, because the correct answer is both Mr. Fox and Mr. Everall, you can still get a lot of really useful information there if students answer A or B. And this typically leads to a really fruitful discussion in which students can challenge each other and they can raise their opinions about why a certain answer is correct. All the while, as a teacher, I am understanding what they understand and I'm adapting my teaching to see what is in front. But again, as with the questions before, it's important to have follow-up questions planned for each one, and then you adapt to the learners you have in front of you. Now, this technique I've seen be effective with so many classes and so many ranges of abilities, but there are ways to make sure it's implemented effectively. As I've mentioned, the follow-up questions are the most important part. This is what takes it from a simple questioning technique to a higher order questioning technique. And those follow-up questions, they need to be planned, they need to be probing, and they need to utilize higher order techniques. However, what can really help this be implemented really effectively as well is ensuring that routines in classroom environments support this type of learning. Part of that is ensuring students have suitable time to think. This allows you as a teacher to ensure you get suitable responses from them. We don't want students panicking or copying and things like this because that affects the quality of the information you have as a teacher. So the thinking time is incredibly important. However, I've also found using physical ABCD cards is actually really beneficial as well. I'm a big advocate for mini whiteboards. I think they are fantastic. But for activities like this, using a printed ABCD card and allowing students to simply hold up their response can help get a really clear visual snapshot, but it can also help me manage the pace of a lesson. And ultimately, managing that pace of the lesson means there's more time available for the students to have those discussions, for me to use those probing questions and those higher order questions. Now, I've found this has a really big impact on learners and the progress that they make. Techniques like this, where mistakes are discussed and almost celebrated, can really contribute towards a positive and supportive classroom environment. That's really important for learners, particularly those who are less confident with mathematics, and learners very much understand when you're working for them and trying to help them. And this makes the progress that they're making really visible to students as well. And at the end of the day, that's why we're here. We're to make that progress visible to students and the learning journey they are taking. It also allows students to develop communication skills, as mentioned before, justifying their responses, challenging each other, and that's where you can build in some of your other questioning techniques, pose, pause, pounce, bounce, for instance. And it allows those discussions to take place in a suitable classroom environment. It also presents opportunities for further differentiation as well. So when I talk about adaptive teaching, I can talk about within the lesson, and I use this to choose suitable challenge routes for my tasks. If a class is responding really well, I will choose a certain route through a task for those who are pushing onwards, but I will always make sure in the planning of my task that it matches the misconceptions in the questions earlier, and I will choose those to be part of that challenging route. This is so that I can see the progress that they're making, and I can check in on the students who did fall into those misconceptions earlier in the lesson to ensure that those are not being fallen into again. And other students might use that to inform their independent learning as well. So the impact on learners here is vast, and it's a really, really beneficial questioning technique that on the face of it seems really simple, but with careful planning and careful implementation can have a really positive impact on our learners. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Nathaniel. That was really interesting. I can see that my colleague Nicola is quite keen to ask a question in the background. So Nick, do you want to come in there?
Yes, thanks, Nathaniel. That was really, really helpful, really clear. When we visited you, we saw you using this strategy highly effectively. I wonder, my question is, how consistent is this practice within your department?
It's a very consistent practice across all of our department. Nearly all classrooms have those cards printed either on tables or ready for students or easy to distribute out at the start. And it's something that we share amongst us as a collaborative department. As I mentioned earlier, we use the information from those activities to inform our teaching as well. But we find when students move from one teacher to another, because this is an effective technique that's used across the department, we don't have to re-embed those routines and things, and it keeps magnifying the impact it can have. And that consistency, I think, is really important.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nathaniel. Well, we now come into the end of our Estyn Live on improving teaching and leadership in mathematics. A huge thank you to you all for joining us at the end of a really busy school day. Special thanks though to Nicola, to Gary, Betson and Nathaniel for sharing their experiences from schools and also their expertise in this really important area. Remember that we have a wide range of video resources on our website alongside this thematic report, and you'll find lots of effective practice across primary and across secondary schools. So please have a look at those videos on our website. Don't forget to sign up for our Maths Roadshow in February. We're pleased to be working in partnership with Dusky this year, and we're going to be delivering roadshows across 3 areas in Wales, and you can sign up for those on our website. Places are limited, and we've already had a really good response to the workshop, so if you'd like a place, please hurry to our website rather than miss out. On the website, you'll also find a range of podcasts, and our most recent one is about mathematics. So have a listen to that, and we'd really appreciate some feedback, whether these are hitting the spot, how well have they worked. If you have any questions about what you've heard today, please don't hesitate to email us. You can use the communications at estyn.gov.wales website email address, and we'll do our best to get back to you. You can also use that same email address to give us any feedback on today's session as well. So on behalf of everyone here at Estyn, diolch am wrando, thanks for listening and have a lovely evening. Hwyl fawr.